Technological transitions, the strategic role of IT leaders in efficient change management by Mr. Amit Potnis, Group CIO, Times Network. Can we have a big round of applause for Mr. Amit? Amit is a goal-oriented IT leader with over 25 years of experience in strategizing and implementing innovative technology solutions across various industries, including media, chemicals, and consumer packaged goods. As a group CIO for a media conglomerate, he managed IT for 11 group companies. He also played a key global role at Mondelez, overseeing strategic initiatives in supply chain, procurement, e-commerce, and D2C businesses. Amit has successfully led the implementation of over four full SAP cycles and developed Mondelez technology strategies. Skilled in digital transformation, enterprise architecture, and cybersecurity, he combines technical expertise with leadership experience. Amit is supported by his loving family, wife Aparna, and daughter Anusha. Born and brought up in Mumbai, he loves music, traveling, and binge watching since COVID. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. I hope you can hear me. So after the very interesting session on emerging technologies, guess where we are? Change management, right? The criticality of change management. My colleagues and my peers actually spoke a bit about return on investment, making sure there were some questions around how do you ensure that a particular initiative that you are leading is delivered successfully. And I think it's a great segue into the next topic. The benefit I have over others is I think this is the last session before lunch? Yes. Great. So it's me standing between lunch and us, okay? So we'll try to get it done in time. No issues with that. So I'm the group CIO for Times Network, which we also call as Times Digital. It's a conglomerate of 11 group companies, which we typically structure around media, entertainment, retail, edutech, and primarily the music industry as well. So can we go to the first slide, please? Oh, over here. Thank you. So this is, I think, a well-known fact amongst the IT leaders that around 70% of your projects typically will fail because of lack of change management. And that's a beautiful picture there on top. When you say who wants to change, everyone will say, yep, we want, as we discussed, AI, Gen AI, all of that. But when we say who wants to make the change or be the change, there are no hands. So it's a very interesting factor in our day-to-day lives where people want magic done at a snap of a finger, right? I don't want to do anything. I just click and it has to be there. And for that, it is very imperative and critical for us to lead from a change standpoint. So I'm going to walk you through some of these. You guys might be way much more ahead of the curve and expert than I am. But I'll try to bring in an aspect from a practical standpoint so that this doesn't become a very theoretical session, to be honest. I don't intend it to be theoretical at all, okay? So change management, as you see, is primarily the discipline that guides on how we prepare, equip, and support individuals to successfully adopt change in order to drive the organizational success outcomes. Now, there are 5 very critical phases of change management. The first one that we all go through is assessing. Assessment is basically, why do we need the change? Who are the critical stakeholders? What is the impact on these stakeholders when it comes to the change? And I think that becomes extremely critical to answer the first phase. The second phase is develop. So when you assess the change and you have a plan in place, let's say it might be a AI, Gen AI technology, or even for that matter, as simple as launching a co-pilot in the organization, you would want to develop a communication strategy and ensure that there is a clear vision that is communicated to the stakeholders. The third phase is deploying the change, which means that once you have the communication in place, you drive the initiative, ensure that you adjust, because there is no initiative in my 25 years of experience which goes exactly as per the timelines. So you have to adjust in between, because there would be some unknowns that you wouldn't be aware of. And when you adjust, you also adjust your change management execution. So that's primarily on the deploy side. Then we all know what we need to do, which is stabilize. So stabilize the change, make sure that the solution is stabilized, the initiative is stabilized. And then, as per the theory, it says exit. But from my point of view, there is no exit when it comes to change management. Change management is primarily an evolution and continuous improvement until there is a sunset happening for the particular initiative that you are driving. Until then, you will, whether you like it or not, will continue to do the change management, be it enhancements, be it improvements over an existing functionality, or whatever other impact that happens to an end user or the core users, as we call it, right? So now there are primarily 3 levels of change management, as we know. One is the individual level, the second is the organization and the initiatives, and the third is the enterprise change management. Someone asked about a return on investment, and I'll touch that point now. The change management for individuals is primarily to make sure that there is a continuous hand-holding and support given to the end users, or where the impact is higher, throughout the change, for them to be successful, not for the initiative to be successful. The initiative will be successful if they are successfully adopting the solution that is being implemented. The change management for organization and projects, this is where the return on investment really is proven. Because the more you drive adoption, the more you can prove the return on investment for the particular initiative. We have a term in our IT language which we call sweating the assets. Sweating assets happens only when people start using the assets that you have implemented. And the third is enterprise change management. This is where you deliver your strategic intent, and this is where you mitigate the change constraints. When you mitigate the change constraints, you build agility in the organization. And when you build agility, the most important point that you build is embed the change culture within the organization. And if you are able to achieve that, based on my experience, I can very safely tell you 50% of your job in terms of driving the initiatives becomes simplified. The more the people are agile to understand what and why is changing in an organization, be it an IT project, be it a business-driven project, this is where the crux of it lies. And that is why it's very strategic in nature. So it has to be read from left to right if you are planning to drive from a strategy all the way to the end user, or it has to be read from right to left if you are moving from an individual to an end user. Now, why change management? Now, change management typically entails adopting changes faster, for sure, more completely, more proficiently. That's what the first adopt change faster means. Understand why the change is happening. Very, very, very critical for us to give that the justification of why do we need it, what is in it for you, and how will we support for you to be successful to adopt the change. That is extremely critical. Stay engaged in the organization, primarily from staying engaged from a disruptive change point of view. AI, Gen AI typically have a lot of question marks in the organization. The first question I typically get is there going to be a headcount reduction? And that mindset needs to change. Now that is changing, but it will evolve over a period of time. Because it's, as you all know, it's not just about headcount reduction or productivity. It also has to do with efficiency, reducing the cycle time of certain processes, be it manufacturing, be it in the media industry, wherever you go. AI will evolve over a period of time to get into a situation where we will be more, I think, in the next 2.5 to 3 years, we'll only be talking about machine learning and RPAs. That's my personal opinion, though. Okay. Have the time to ensure that the individuals feel supported throughout the change, because that is what keeps them more engaged. And then change management basically enables your organizations to have twice more success in terms of delivering successful projects, The slides are pretty much self-sufficient. In case you have any questions on the slide, please do ask. I'm just talking in general about why the slides are there, okay? So then, this is where we get into the line, right? What is our role as the IT leaders? So, I think we've been listening to this phrase since a long time, that change is the only constant. And as leaders, we are expected not only to embrace the change, be it disruptive technologies or be it IT transformation, digital transformation projects like an ERP transformation that you might be going through, but we are also expected to lead from the front and drive the change. So primarily what we are trying to say is we need to walk the talk. It's as simple as that. And it needs to have a top-down approach. Someone was talking about, I think it was Balpreet who was talking about a top-down approach, or Ajay, I don't remember exactly, but one of them was talking about the top-down approach. It is extremely critical to have a top-down approach across the organization. So that means making sure that you have a clear vision. You need to have a clear vision when you build the business case for your initiative, be it return on investments, productivity benefits, absolutely you need to have that. But it is very, very critical also to communicate a vision for the entire initiative within the stakeholder community. And that needs to happen from a top-down aspect for any project you go for, but I would rather say for very, very heavy projects like a ERP implementation, or you are driving a complete AI, you're revamping the organization into an AI platform, all of this would be very critical. Active involvement as a leader, you need to be actively involved in anything and everything when it comes to the project, because or the initiative, because you need to lead from the front and explain and cement your position that you are there to drive and lead the change from the front, rather than just delegate the tasks and just see how things are going. It does make a change, and I can tell you we implemented Copilot around 3 months back in the organization. We started as a very small POC of sorts, and then we just extended that to almost half of the organization as of date. The way we have driven the entire change management on this, we are today at close to 70% adoption, which I think is pretty good in terms of the 3 months that within the short time period. Although I agree with my friend Ganesh, who said that it's not really a full-blown AI. I agree with that. But the change in terms of adoption of AI is extremely critical, because again, I have to prove my business case to the management on why we are spending on Copilot. And one of the ways to do that is to showcase the adoption of the Copilot. No one is going to ask me the productivity benefits now, to Ajay's point. They are going to ask, okay, great, what has it done? Show me how many people are using it. And that is basically the building on the business case. Consistent messaging. At times we as leaders always think about, I think that's enough. We can stop. And I think we need to think twice before we do that. Because you might have started or stirred up an interest in the organization which you are planning to pause or stop, meaning you are planning to actually have the momentum die down. So think twice before you stop that consistent messaging or decide to take a pause there. Resource commitment, this is the most difficult piece that we always face, is to make sure that people commit to, or the leaders at the top level commit to their teams or their teams to work with you throughout the change. And that is, I think, the crux from a leadership standpoint, very, very critical from a leadership standpoint. Empower the teams to enable taking their decisions. Make sure you set KPIs, goals as a part of that, to make sure that you hold them accountable, and be the change you wish to see. I think celebrate success is extremely important, but I would say be the change that you wish to see, because that's going to be the crux of the entire detail. So I'm done, right? Okay, thank you. So I think that was it. Long-term focus more talks about continuous improvement, which I mentioned earlier, where it doesn't end. You need to ensure that you have a long-term strategy from an IT standpoint, which boils down into the, of course, driven by the business strategy, but boils down into the change management as well. Any questions, anything that you want me to address? I know it's lunch, but still. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for the insightful session, and I would like to call upon stage Mr. Anand Dhiodar, Group CIO at Force Motors Limited, to do the honors.